Hi, this is Michaela Swikowski, and I'm going to be talking about multilingual listening centers. So, according to Selig and Seltzer 2013 on page 87, a multilingual listening center is, and I quote, a way for emergent bilinguals to listen to texts in both English and their home languages. Listening center activities can take on different forms depending on what you want to support and what you want to give your emergent bilinguals. So in my own words, a multilingual listening center is an area where students are able to listen to texts, videos, podcasts, and anything else that they may need to help them academically in their home language, but they can also listen to these texts in English. And so when I say texts, I'm talking about texts that are either in their home language or texts that have been translated from English into their home language or English text or videos. And so some examples of texts that could be used in a multilingual listening center could be a textbook passage, something that they may be reading aloud as a class, content area texts, shared reading texts, and guided reading texts. So there's a lot of different options in regards to texts. And like I said, videos, podcasts, and anything else can also be either in English or in their home language or translated from English into their home language. So what do multilingual listening centers do? Well, they can help to build background knowledge for the student. They can help to scaffold their understanding of an English text, and they can help develop reading fluency and oral language. So how do we do this? Well, we can plan out each resources that we're going to need for each unit. We can find the resources in their home language if possible. If we can't find something in their home language, we can create a recording in their home language. And we need to make sure that when our students are going to these centers that we give them a set routine so that they know what they need to do when they get in there and they're constantly doing the same thing so that they continue to grow. So my elementary example was that during a science lesson about the water cycle, students can build their background knowledge by listening to a brain pop in their home language. So you could see that one up on top here. But the downside to brain pop is that it's limited to French, Spanish, or English. So if they can't do a brain pop, they could always find another video online about the water cycle in their home language. And once they listen to that to get a little bit of background knowledge on the topic in a language they're familiar with, they can go over to Brain Pop and watch the same video but in English. Or if they watched a different video, they can head over to Brain Pop and watch this video in English. And by doing that, they'll have the background knowledge, they'll know a little bit more about what's going on, so maybe they'll be able to better understand the English video. And so it's suggested that they watch it twice and then they can try to answer the questions that go along with the video to really reinforce their comprehension of this English video. So then the middle school example I had was that during a science lesson on chemical versus physical change, some of the vocab and content may not be translated into their home language or the materials may not be in a certain language. So to help, we can bring in the family members, or we could bring in, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, siblings even who have taken this class already, and we can ask them to help us by translating flashcards for us, and translating them into the home language and recording a video of themselves saying the translations in their home language so that we could give our students at the listening center a video to watch regarding the vocab that they're going to be using. So again, we're kind of building on their background knowledge. We're also scaffolding them into different assignments that they may have to do, such as guided notes or quizzes or something along those lines, having these flashcards in their home language, and having it recorded and shown to them through a video instead of just handwritten will help them better. And then in high school, when they go to the reading center, they're not going to be using their home language for this one, but they will be listening to an audio book of Lord of the Flies um, that their class will be reading. So each time they come into the center, they're going to listen to a new chapter of the book, and they'll have the book in front of them, so they'll be able to follow along in the book. And after they listen for the first time, the student should stop listening to the book, highlight whatever they don't understand, any words that maybe stump them, or sentences or something that just didn't make sense to them. Make a note of it, highlight it, write a list of anything that they were confused on, and then listen to it again and follow along again and see if it clears it up anymore. And if it doesn't, they should bring their questions back to class so that the teacher can clarify for them. So here we're kind of creating a routine that each time they come in, they're going to listen to a chapter. They will follow along. They will make notes, highlight what they don't understand. And this way they can hear it as well as see it. So it'll help with their reading comprehension as well as their oral fluency and their listening comprehension, because they'll be constantly hearing it. And then these are my references. I made the Quizlet flashcards on the middle school page, and I found French and English Brain Pop on Brain Pop, and then I found the audiobook on SchoolTube, and they actually have they have a ton of different chapters from a ton of different books, so that's definitely a website to keep in mind if you wanted to use something online for your students to have an audiobook. I also noticed that Amazon had a ton of really good audiobooks that your students could use if you have an account. There were many resources for audiobooks. And like I said, not everything is going to be translated into their home language, which is super important for us to know, so that if we need to use them as a resource, we can. If we need to use their family members as a resource, we can. Not everything is going to be in every language, and so we need to make sure that we are able to make everything available to them in their language so that they can be successful in our classroom. Thank you, and if you have any questions, just leave them in your reply.